It do indeed be recording. Did you mute yourself?
No.
Oh, okay. It didn't pick up on the can opening. That's weird.
That's just... I gotta try again. Let me go get a beer.
Oh, boy.
All right. So, apologies to your mom and my mom, our only two listeners, because we have skipped like a whole month of recording now, I think.
It's been a little all over the place.
Yeah. So what happened is I went back on tour with my band. You may remember I'm part of a band called 60 Seconds to Uranus. It's going to be a long tour this time. It's a really cool lineup. We're touring with Mama Locust and Healing Ben. But yeah, we're going all across the country. So it's going to be a mobile recording for the next while.
Isn't your opener the band that they made Radioactive? What's that band called?
Thinking About Lizards.
Damn it! Imagine dragging these nuts across your face. Dead joke. I work with kids. Let me have it.
Nothing about Mama Locust or Healing Ben.
So Breaking Benjamin, obviously,
and Papa Roach.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dang, man, you really are working your way up the circuit.
I'm trying. We're only playing the same venue for the next 6 months, but it's a start.
Interesting strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off.
Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
So, before I die, starting off with the news, baby.
Wait. We have to introduce ourselves. You're Jacob. I'm Spencer. We're here doing the episode, talking about the news, the comic news.
That is true. And Colin is picking his nose, probably.
And his ass at the same time.
In all honesty, I think he's still playing Minecraft right now. Colin does not like the news. He thinks news is cringe, except for when it's news he likes, which then he gets very happy about.
I fear for him playing Minecraft 100%. Again.
I agree. We've been talking about weaning off of Minecraft for like 2 years now, and that just came out of the blue. So I'm very concerned. I might go crash his party.
You should
just join his server and start fucking murking everything.
Join his server and start swearing in his Christian Minecraft server. Like, that would be the best way to fix him.
That is true.
All right, starting with the news. From Lucasfilm.com. Lucasfilm was saddened to learn of the passing of artist Greg Hildebrandt, who, with his brother Tim, painted the iconic Brilliant Blue Star Wars artwork that was used prolifically throughout the original Star Wars A New Hope marketing and merchandising campaigns of the late 70s. He was 85. In just 36 hours, Greg Hildebrandt and his brother Tim, who passed away in 2006, famously painted the now ubiquitous poster artwork that has become inseparable with the early Star Wars phenomenon itself. The brothers Hildebrandt, as they were known, had become wildly popular in the 70s for their lush and epic illustrations of J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings saga, which appeared in calendars, art books, posters, and other merchandise. Their fanciful style caught the attention of George Lucas, who was looking to capture that same magical spirit to sell his new space epic. While artist Tom Young designed the familiar Luke and Leia poised before a looming Darth Vader, which would ultimately be used for the film's release poster, the Hildebrandt's vision was the one widely circulated among fans and the media, appearing on t-shirts, buttons, pin-up posters, and newspaper ads during the initial months of the campaign. Based on the success and resonance of that artwork, Lucasfilm reached out to the brothers once again in '96 for the Shadows of the Empire campaign, a multimedia event taking place in the years between Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars Return of the Jedi. The brothers turned in 100 pieces of new artwork based on the storyline, which were published as a card series and in an art book. The brothers again returned to the Star Wars galaxy for Star Wars The Phantom Menace, this time filling the Star Wars Great Big Flat Book with scores of new illustrations based on the film, becoming rare artistic contributors to both trilogies.
This is genuinely like the image I associate with A New Hope by a wide margin for kind of obvious reasons. This is the one that's on like my VHS box set. So yeah, big owie.
Yeah, I did not realize that. Didn't realize that the Lord of the Rings artworks and this artwork and the other Star Wars artworks were all connected by the same artist. Like, I've seen a lot of these and just never connected them all.
Yeah. I think this is one of my like favorite, or kind of like my niche interest is like background and promotional artists, because it's less common now for obvious reasons because we don't really do paintings anymore. But like either people that did matte backgrounds or people that just painted posters, like especially big in genre stuff in the 70s. Like those Indiana Jones posters are like perfect. You know, that sort of stuff is something that we've kind of lost because people aren't interested in them or not investing in it anymore. And it's, these people have like so much influence on the general perception of a property. Like that like mid 2000s Marvel like full hero spread, I could pull it up and you'd know exactly what I'm talking about. That was used for like literally every Marvel product pre MCU. That like that's borderline like more ingrained in my brain than any other artwork associated with some of those characters. It's insane. From DC.com, DC's all-in publishing initiative has launched to great sales and critical acclaim, introducing an all-new universe of absolute titles and new jumping-on points for fans in the core DC universe. One of the most highly anticipated additions to the core DC line is the return of the Justice League, and DC has released artwork from the debut issue of Justice League Unlimited #1, on sale Wednesday, November 27th, by series artist Dan Mora with colors by Tamara Bonvillain. Written by Mark Waid, this series reunites and expands the team of the world's greatest superheroes who are ready to take on any and all threats from across the galaxy. However, in the wake of Absolute Power and the DC All-In special, which I read, this massive gathering of heroes hasn't gone unnoticed. Darkseid's destruction in the DC All-In special has resulted in a new threat, one that only the Justice League can face. Announced at New York Comic Con, Justice League Unlimited #1 also features an exclusive 4-page prelude to Hush 2, a very original title, by the original Batman Hush team of Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee, Scott Williams, and Alex Sinclair. This is the only place where fans will be able to get an introduction to the sequel to one of the most celebrated Batman stories ever, overhyped as fuck, before the Hush 2 saga begins in the pages of Batman number 158, available March 2025. So Hush 2 is cringe, but Justice League Unlimited looks dope as shit.
Yeah, I was making the big stinky face when you mentioned Hush 2.
Like, it could be fine or whatever. Like, I just don't really care that much. We'll see. But one, Dan Mora being a consistent interior artist is such a massive win. And also, this was actually set up really well in the DC All-In special. I try to keep up with the every, like, reboot, relaunch, new initiative, like, one-shot books, and a lot of them are fantastic, but this one is like two-sided with two different art teams telling two sides of the same story, of like, it's kind of the wrap-up to the previous what was it, Absolute Power. Darkseid does some shit, and it's the explanation for why the Absolute Universe exists and blah blah blah, and it was freaking fantastic. And the Justice League is basically just handing out membership cards to like every hero they can find. So it's returning to that 90s Justice League Unlimited vibe of like, okay, just every hero imaginable, just get them in the teleporter now.
Yes. From Marvel.com, first teased last year at San Diego Comic-Con, One World Under Doom is an overarching status quo shift coming to Marvel Comics, the likes of which haven't been seen since 2008's Dark Reign. Spinning out of Blood Hunt, where Dr. Doom manipulated Doctor Strange into passing him the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme, One World Under Doom sees Doom accomplish his ultimate goal at last as he uses his new power to take over the entire world. One World Under Doom will be anchored by a core title launching in February, Rise of Emperor Doom. The 5-issue series will be Written by Ryan North, whose acclaimed current run on Fantastic Four will be heavily impacted by One World Under Doom, and drawn by one of the industry's hottest artists, R.B. Silva, known for his defining work on the X-Men in titles like Powers of X and Rise of the Powers of 10. I guess Powers of 10 and Rise of the Powers of 10? Whatever. X puns. One World Under Doom. 6 months ago, Dr. Victor Von Doom became Sorcerer Supreme, then disappeared behind Latveria's closed borders. That's so political. For most, there's enough going on in the world that Doom's absence is not a priority, and some time without him feels like a blessing. Only a few recognize it for what it truly was, the calm before the storm. It is a storm that has now arrived. Sue Storm came. The world has woken up to a new reality. Dr. Doom, Earth's Sorcerer Supreme, has magically taken over every broadcast medium on the planet and declared himself Emperor of the world, the ruler of a new, united Latveria. And shockingly, and possibly, all of Earth's leaders seem to be going along with this. Luckily, whether it's mind control or Doombots, whatever's affecting them hasn't affected Earth's heroes, and so they quickly form a strike team to stop Doom's machinations. But will they succeed? And what happens when some begin to welcome their new emperor with open arms, clamoring for one world under Doom?
Beans. Sign me up now.
Yep. That's a lot of beans.
It's a lot of beans. On the one hand, it does have a little bit of like a reminiscence to Secret Wars in a sense of the whole Doom actually gets to do his thing. But Ryan North's run has been fantastic from what I can tell. I've wanted to hop on. It's only, I think, like 15 issues in, something like that, I think.
It's definitely your shit.
Oh, it's definitely my shit. And I'm just a pussy and haven't done it. So a little behind, as always, but aren't we all? And, you know, theoretically, there could be some editorial, hey, we're going to have a Fantastic Four movie coming soon. You should probably do something, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But, like, low-key, I don't care. This looks cool as shit. I did read Blood Hunt. I haven't actually talked about it on the show yet, but I got a hold of it, and Doom's role is very interesting. I don't know. Misa down. I'll definitely read at least the, like, ongoing, the onboarding miniseries if I don't pick up whatever sort of ongoings they have for this. From Marvel.com. At the Marvel Comics Spider-Man and His Venomous Friends panel at New York Comic-Con, senior editor Jordan D. White, current Venom scribe Al Ewing, and New York Times bestselling author Charles Soule revealed the future of symbiote storytelling. Fans were given a first look at all new Venom and the announcement of the second symbiote ongoing series spinning out of Venom War, Eddie Brock Carnage. Wow, how surprising. Another symbiote book, and it's a Carnage book. Wow. Launching in February, Eddie Brock Carnage will be written by Soule, known for his acclaimed run on Star Wars, and drawn by Jesus Saiz, following his extraordinary work on recent titles like Captain America and Punisher.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Wait, 1 second. Charles Soule.
Yeah.
Known for his acclaimed run on Star Wars, not Daredevil. Who edits this? Fire him.
Low-key, his Daredevil run is not that good. It's like the only major Daredevil run that isn't like stellar.
Anyway.
Set in the aftermath of Venom War, the startling saga sees longtime Venom host Eddie Brock operating as the new host of the violent and sadistic Carnage symbiote. The series will interact with the other flagship symbiote title, All New Venom, which sees the Venom symbiote take on a yet-to-be-revealed host with a suspiciously black and yellow costume. I added that because we talked about that announcement like last month, but like that shit looks hot as fuck. Carnage is someone that has to kill, so Eddie has to feed him deaths. In order for Eddie to be okay with that, the people he feeds Carnage are serial killers, Soule explained. But Carnage is also an addict, and addicts need bigger and bigger highs. I'm having a blast with this, he continued. Jesus wanted to do a horror book. This is his wheelhouse. He loves creepy, organic things to draw, and I'm giving him everything he can handle. On the one hand, another Carnage book. On the other hand, the premise sounds cool. I like killing serial killers. I don't know.
It's interesting to me that Al Ewing is no longer going to be on it. I'm wondering if he's just overworked, like spread out way too much, and they're cutting him from Venom, or what's going on.
Hold on. I actually believe Al Ewing is writing all new Venom. Yeah, no, Al Ewing is writing all new Venom, so he's just not writing Eddie.
I see.
But, I don't know. The main piece of artwork looks pretty good. Carnage is just really overexposed. Like, it seems like the past 5 or 6 years, most of his runs and events are cool and good, but it's just too much all the time. It's like every 5 minutes, there's another.
He's the Joker, baby.
Kinda, yeah. And another excuse to make more Funko Pops. You know, get that bag. But the premise in and of itself sounds interesting. I kind of hope that this doesn't go on that long. They announced it as an ongoing, but this kind of smells like a 12 issue at tops, depending on how well it goes anyways. Just, I don't know. Eddie Brock was Venom again. That was a big deal. And then he's the King in Black Venom. And then he became fucking anti-Venom. And then he was Venom again. And it's like, could we stop flip-flopping for 5 minutes? I get it. The new characters are really cool. Dylan Brock is great. And the Venom War event does look interesting. But just like, I don't know, man.
Well, I learned that I need to call my local comic shop tomorrow because...
Oh, so true.
From Marvel.com. Hitting stands in January, Ultimate Wolverine will be written by rising star Chris Condon, known for That Texas Blood and Venom War: Daredevil, and drawn by Moon Knight powerhouse artist Alessandro Cappuccio. True to the character's origin as a government weapon, Ultimate Wolverine is an unwilling agent of the Maker, the secret creator of this corrupt universe. Mind wiped and used as an assassin, he's still the best there is at what he does, even if he's not in control of who he does it to. Yeah, ma'am. When Will Moss called me and asked if I wanted to take on this title, I jumped at the chance and immediately had an idea of what to do with it, said Condon. I'm bringing my essence of storytelling from That Texas Blood to the Marvel Universe with Wolverine, looking back at what came before and bringing us something new. You might notice that there's a red star on his costume, and you might wonder why, he continued. If you look at that mask, there's a muzzle on him, and that's because he's wild.
Wild for your mom.
The joke.
Is it still warm?
In order to maintain control of their corner of the Maker's world, 3 members of his council, Magic, Colossus, and Omega Red, deploy their most lethal asset, the Winter Soldier. But who is the weapon behind the mask? Before Ultimate Wolverine... Whoa. Spicy pepper seed let go. Whew. Before Ultimate Wolverine arrives in January, readers will see him in action for the first time in a prelude story by Condon and Cappuccio in Ultimate Universe: 1 Year in #1, the special one-shot that concludes the first year of Marvel's new Ultimate Universe and sets up the next year of stories, including the Maker's long-awaited return.
Bro,
Instant pre-order.
I'm queefing right now. Like, I can't even. One, the restraint on editorial to only put out one new ongoing a year in. I was like, they didn't add any titles in the first year. They were all announced up front. So I was expecting year 2 to expand a lot. There's one new ongoing, and they have one singular one shot as a cap of the first year. I'm very impressed. Cappuccio's art is fucking revoltingly good. He makes me ill. Like, the math does math on this one in terms of the universe squishy, folding, bendy, breaky stuff. I don't know. This shit kind of goes hard as fuck. And I love the color, or the weird orange, brown, red that they've picked looks so freaking good. Like, I've never seen a Wolverine outfit with this exact shade. I know, crazy standard, but like, it conveys a lot. And also it ties in well with the red of like, ooh, look, he's from Russia. Ooh, I don't know.
It looks really good. I really like that cover.
I already called my shop. From Star Wars.
It's been too long since I've talked to my wife that works at the comic shop.
That is true. That is true. She misses you. She wishes you would come home.
I'm talking about Brad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
From StarWars.com. Kylo Ren is ready to finish what his grandfather started. Soon, the Supreme Leader of the First Order will follow in the footsteps of Darth Vader with the new Marvel comic series Star Wars Legacy of Vader. Written by Charles Soule, who previously penned Star Wars The Rise of Kylo Ren and Star Wars Darth Vader Dark Lord of the Sith, among other titles, the story begins with a journey to Mustafar, where Ren will descend into Vader's castle. Later issues will take Kylo to the familiar sands of Tatooine as he tries to unlock the secrets of his family's past. Soule, who first teased the series at New York Comic Con 2024, is excited to return to the Knights of Ren for a story that bookends his previous miniseries, which was dope, which explored Ben Solo's fall to the dark side. When fans talk to me about my Star Wars work, two of my Marvel Comics comic runs come up more than anything else. My 2017 run on Darth Vader with Giuseppe Camuncoli, I can English. I blame the Italians. And my 2019 series, The Rise of Kylo Ren with Will Sliney, Soule tells StarWars.com. I think both of those worked so well in part because they were set in parts of the Star Wars timeline full of unanswered questions about characters the audience really loves. This new series is not just a combination of those two books. Pee-pee, poo-poo, synthesis. I wish he did that in the middle of the interview. That would have been fucking awesome. But also a chance to explore an extremely rich section of the timeline that's almost entirely open, Kylo Ren's time as Supreme Leader of the First Order. Set between the events of The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, Legacy of Vader revisits Kylo's enduring connection to his maternal grandfather, the Empire's enforcer Darth Vader, and further explores how the events of Vader's past guide Kylo's choices as he leads the First Order. Kylo is truly lost at this particular moment. In a very short span of time, he's faced two of his most significant mentors in combat, one of whom is his uncle, killed his own father, almost killed his mother, stolen control of a galaxy-level military that he has no idea how he'll use, and of course found a deep connection with another Force user named Rey. Horny. Soule continues. All of that is swirling around in his emotional matrix, making him deeply unstable, angry, frustrated, and dangerous. He's looking for any form of guidance he can get, even if he won't admit it, and so he turns to just about the only thing he's got left, the legacy of his grandfather, the Sith Lord Darth Vader. Legacy of Vader #1 arrives on February 5th, 2025, written by Charles Soule and art by Luke Ross, which was not mentioned in the article, which is lame. I think this is a fucking phenomenal pick. Not just like the creative team, but also we've been covering the new Star Wars kind of ongoing that's taking place between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, and how they're kind of not making it an ongoing, but it's still kind of an ongoing. And it smells like that with this, because it was like, oh, what's the Darth Vader book gonna be? Because that's always what they've done, is had a Star Wars book and a Darth Vader book. And it's like, well, we can't really have a Darth Vader book. And if, I don't know, this pushing this into the nebulous territory of right before the movie everybody disliked, and after the movie smart people liked. I don't know. There's a lot of material to pull from here. And connecting with his previous miniseries seems really cool.
That's good, I guess. I don't know much about new Star Wars comics. I think the newest one I read was the Dr. Aphra, first run.
I can fix you.
Meh.
I can fix you.
From Marvel.com. The Marvel Premiere Collection is designed for anyone looking for the perfect entry point into the Marvel Universe, or for the most definitive and quintessential stories behind Marvel's most popular characters. Curated in honor of the groundbreaking stories and creative forces from the House of Ideas, the Marvel Premiere Collection packs Marvel's iconic stories into a sleek, high-quality, and highly readable format to make Marvel's stories more accessible than ever before, ideal for Marvel fans across comics, film, television, games, and beyond, both old and new. The Marvel Premiere Collection will begin with 4 titles next year, including Daredevil, Born Again, collecting the definitive Daredevil run as the perfect companion to story to read ahead of the new upcoming Daredevil show, written by Frank Miller and drawn by David Mazzucchelli. Black Panther, A Nation Under Our Feet, collecting the full saga in one trade paperback for the first time. Written by Ta-Nehisi Coates and drawn by Brian Stelfreeze and Chris Sprouse. Captain America Winter Soldier, collecting one of the most influential stories to shape the Marvel Universe. Written by Ed Brubaker and drawn by Steve Epting. And Fantastic Four Solve Everything, collecting an all-new streamlined version of the seminal Fantastic Four run for the first time, personally curated by author Jonathan Hickman. Written by Hickman and drawn by Dale Eaglesham, Neil Edwards, and Steve Epting.
Marvel's a day late and $1 short on the bargain size books, bro.
Yeah. But they're focusing on nice quality, it says, instead of a cheap quality.
We'll fucking see. I'm sure they'll be...
I'm just telling you what the article says.
I know. The thing with this that actually makes me really nervous, one, the lineup is small. I think the picks are actually pretty good, but the fact that it's only 4, I'm pretty sure the DC ones launched with 10 titles, and they've already put out a second wave. Why the fuck is Fantastic Four being cut down and streamlined? Maybe it's actually being done by Hickman. I doubt that. But, like, that is sus as fuck. I have yet to read that run. It is on my to-do list because Hickman is Hickmaning and Fantastic Four are familying. But, like, unless there was some serious, like, editorial weird shit where a lot of the issues kind of came out of nowhere for an event or whatever, why is it getting cut down? That seems ridiculous.
I think you are right. It's strange that there's only 4 books. It should be more than that. I don't know.
It's just odd.
Nice that they're trying, I guess. Born Again is definitely, it's been on an old printing for a long time. So
it has. It's a good printing. I think it's still in printing, but like it hasn't been updated in like 5 years, other than like updated copyrights or whatever. It's also the only one that's a mini series. That I don't think is that could be better or worse than the DC books, because trying to collect, trying to make new reader friendly chunks of ongoing runs isn't a necessarily bad idea, but I don't know, man. There's a lot of Marvel miniseries, and that seems easier than just I don't know, just size the books down, print it on cheaper paper, call it $10, boom, done. I'm sorry, DC got this one right. Like, I don't really care how much better quality the paper is. I don't want a smaller book unless I'm giving it to people. Like, I want the books to be bigger. I want every book to come in treasury size.
Yes.
Weird. Yeah, this one. Yeah. From ScreenRant.com. After nearly 5 years since retiring the imprint, DC Comics has officially announced at New York Comic-Con the highly anticipated return of Vertigo. This marks a major moment for the publisher, reigniting one of its most iconic imprints known for groundbreaking mature storytelling, aka boobies and cigarettes. Adding to the excitement, DC revealed the flagship title that will spearhead this revival, setting the tone for a bold new era of Vertigo Comics. And I have one on my shelf right now. This one. DC officially announced during the Jim Lee and Friends panel at New York Comic-Con that the Vertigo imprint would be making a triumphant return. Along with this surprise came the confirmation that The Nice House by the Sea by James Tynion IV, Alvaro Martinez Bueno, and Jordi Belair will be reprinted under the Vertigo banner, serving as the imprint's flagship title, starting with issue number 4. Vertigo Comics, originally not launched in 1993 by editor Karen Berger, was created to give DC the creative freedom to push bold, mature content, aka boobies and cigarettes. I'm calling out Garth Ennis. It quickly became iconic, delivering groundbreaking titles such as The Sandman, Swamp Thing, Preacher, Fables, and Hellblazer. However, in the 2010s, Vertigo began to decline as series like Hellblazer and Swamp Thing were absorbed into DC's main comic line, and by January 2020, the imprint was officially discontinued. Its place was taken by DC Black Label, part of a broader initiative to consolidate all comic titles under one banner. Low-key, not much is going to actually fucking change, but I like the branding being back. This is like the DC Bullet returning. It doesn't really mean anything from an editorial standpoint because half of Black Label is Batman and the other half of Black Label is the same like Vertigo titles that already existed, which have been great, but like it's a spiritual victory, I think.
That was what I was going to ask, is like, what's the difference between this and Black Label?
Yeah, they didn't clarify like anything. The only thing I would assume is that the like DC Black Label Horror Presents books are going to be all pushed into Vertigo, and probably like the Hellblazer stuff whenever they get around to it, because they only go to that one every couple of years, and probably like Black Label will just be another like imprint that Elseworlds lives under, which then kind of doesn't mean that Black Label needs to exist because Elseworlds covers it, but whatever. And
Nobody knows.
nobody knows. DC sure as fuck doesn't know. But when do they ever know?
All right, last bit of news from
Creamin'.
from Marvel.com.
Cream.
At the Marvel Fanfare panel with C.B. Cebulski at New York Comic Con, the Marvel Comics editor-in-chief was joined by best-selling artist Steve McNiven and New York Times best-selling author Charles Soule, mentioned in the third article tonight, to reveal an epic new Daredevil limited series launching next year. Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell. Daredevil Cold Day in Hell will mark McNiven's first major Marvel Comics work in nearly a decade. Joining him is no stranger to Hell's Kitchen, Charles Soule, who had a classic run on Daredevil in 2015. Classic, the article says. Following their acclaimed work together on Death of Wolverine, this superstar creative team reunite for a bold vision of Daredevil in the same spirit as what McNiven did with Old Man Logan. Set in a Marvel Universe future on the brink of collapse, the series introduces a grizzled, older version of Matt Murdock. Years into the future, a powerless Matt Murdock is no longer Daredevil, but he's still the man without fear. Doing whatever he can to help those in need in a city broken beyond repair, he'll finally be able to take the fight to where it matters most when something catastrophic happens, causing his powers to miraculously return. With no one by his side, Daredevil has little chance against the evil permeating every corner until Captain America entrusts him with a mission to safeguard the world's only hope. I know whatever idea I write is going to be executed masterfully by Steve, and that level of trust allows you to take a lot of risk, Soule said. Risks, plural, Soule said. It's been a really interesting process because the way we made it is something I wouldn't do with an artist that I didn't have this level of collaboration and trust with. We've been working on this book for 4 years, and that time has been well spent. I started out by going, why are not more people learning from Frank Miller and the storytelling he does, McNiven said. I was inspired by his work on Dark Knight Returns. To a certain degree, the structure of a 16-panel grid forces you to do different storytelling techniques. Ugh. 9 panels stress me out, and then you're going to up it to 16? Ugh. The Daredevil... This is good, I guess.
I'm losing my shit. I can't believe they've been working on this for so long. That's weird.
Yes,
like,
that is strange to me.
A lot of these sorts of, I guess, higher profile miniseries certainly take a while, but like 4 years is a lot. I don't know. I'm a big sucker for this sort of shit. I like Spider-Man Reign, even though it's not really that good. I kind of want to read Reign 2 when that finishes, even though I'm sure it's not going to be that good. Like, and every version of Old Man Logan I have a soft spot for, because there's like 4 different ones, even though it's way overhyped as fuck. I don't know. Grouchy old superheroes is fucking great. I love that shit. And Daredevil is already spiritually old and grouchy. So
it's not overplayed yet, going beyond like the current timeline that we've had for 60 years, and
especially
being like,
with
what happens when these characters are old and washed up. Like, that's
especially
what makes
with
Marvel's so good.
Yeah,
Or
especially Marvel,
Marvel.
because DC does that like all the fucking time, and a lot of those are very good. But DC is constantly rebooting and shit, whereas Marvel has like a bunch of side miniseries, and then basically everything is within a very flexible time
Yes.
line, which is insane and results in some weird ass bullshit. But it does mean that it's not like we have a billion versions of Daredevil, but he's old. Like we have 80,000 old men Batman. We have like, you know.
It wasn't Marvel's I was thinking of. It was Kingdom Come. But, I mean, it's good.
Kingdom Come do indeed be queefing like that.
Yeah.
That's that good shit.
Speaking of that good shit,
Oh, yeah, that good shit. Agatha All Along was low-key kind of dope.
you get to eat crow.
I'm happy to eat crow. Can I eat her, though? Because she is an
can
old
eat
crone.
the crow out of her hat.
That works. I'm fine with that. I did not expect to like this. I still think...
It's funny to me because I expected to like it more than I did, and then you ended up liking it more than you expected. So this is funny.
I still think from like a oversight perspective, it is really weird to make a show based off of a meme from a show from ages ago that nobody really asked for. I do think that is kind of a waste of resources, but sometimes that's where really good shit can come out of, is just, oh, this one person had a weird project. Also, this is one of the only Marvel shows to have a proper showrunner so far, which helps. It low-key feels more even-keeled than WandaVision did. Like, WandaVision was really good up until the end, where it kind of all tanked and turned into a big fight and had weird bullshit. This one felt really consistent episode to episode on, like, a thematic and, like, implications level. I gave a shit, and also they didn't backpedal on making Agatha a piece of shit. Like, she is still a bad guy. But she is bad guy. But, like, I like her.
By the third episode, I was like, oh, it's just going to be a whole bunch of puzzle rooms or escape rooms. And then, like, each escape room happened each week, and I was like, ooh, how do you solve the puzzle? Like, it had me hooked.
I agree.
Despite being kind of repetitive and being escape room each episode. But it didn't overstay either. It was like, here's the puzzle, they solve it.
I agree, especially with
next week.
Especially with the like final twist or two in episode 8/9. I was a lot more engaged with each trial in retrospect because we are given certain context. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. That kind of it makes it all more interesting than it was as straightforward as it was initially presented. I actually thought that the emotional through line with Agatha was pretty solid. It wasn't incredible, but Catherine Hahn was giving it fucking 150%.
Absolutely, she was.
Episode 9 being primarily flashbacks was actually pretty cool. It did kind of feel like an epilogue of sorts. Like it was, the plot was over, but the story wasn't over, if that makes sense. And that's fine. It just kind of had some weird pacing bits there. The flashback episode with Teen, for that character's backstory, I have mixed feelings about. I think the episode in a vacuum works really well, like as a character piece explaining why the character is this way, all of that stuff. I think it was done really well. I do have to do my thing though. The whole like they tipped their hat to him being Jewish and that did make him Jewish, which was really fucking dumb. Like on the one hand, it's not nothing. But like I'm doing my thing. The character is canonically Jewish and Romani, and they're like, okay, so he's gonna be in a Jewish body, but it's not the guy. It's weird. I didn't love that. It was kind of wacky. It was nice to see a part of a bar mitzvah though. That was cool. I don't like how they weaseled around that. That seemed unnecessarily complicated.
I was disappointed with the last minute or two, because it felt like we didn't get very far. We got a lot of character building through the whole show, but then finally the show ends with, let's go do the thing that the teen has been trying to do the whole show. It was like, it it felt like we'd been stuck for 8 or 9 episodes and hadn't really done much.
I definitely agree with that. I think I know where it's well, it's very obvious, like the literal direction. I have a feeling if they ever get around to doing that like younger Avengers project, I think that'll probably be the central conflict, or in that neck of the woods, because I don't see any other projects on the horizon that would tie in very well to this. And also it clearly has basically nothing to do with any of the ongoing multiverse stuff, which I'm thankful for. So I think I know where it's going, but it is still kind of an odd thing. It's also just really funny that Marvel Comics made Agatha younger because she was being played by a younger actor, and then they made the character played by the actor look older by the end of it to make her look like the comic one. I think that's really funny. I don't really give a shit. It doesn't mean much. It's just entertaining.
Just really funny, yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't caught that.
I actually liked how campy it was. Like
Go ahead.
I like how distinct it feels from a lot of the other magic stuff in the MCU. This was very hocus pocusy, like very obviously. It was like, look, they literally dress up as Wizard of Oz characters, and I liked how that kind of permeated the whole show. It didn't take itself too seriously. There were nods at some real world history, and like I think the secondary subtext had a decent bit of commentary about like women and queer people and stuff, but like it was a lot of and people think that we're green and shit, and that's kind of dumb. And then they do the silly shit anyways, like wear funny outfits or whatever. I don't know. I really liked how campy and hokey it was. It felt very kind of what a kid thinks of witches, and that's nice. It didn't have to be like serious and grimdark.
That the cast was very well acted. I really appreciated the performances given by pretty much everybody in the show. Like again, Catherine Hahn was playing I want to say her ass off, but that would lead to snarky side comments. But she was doing an incredible job. I really enjoyed her performance very much. She had a lot of great jokes, but also Aubrey Plaza did great as her character, to avoid spoilers. The coven was all acted by different people that did a really nice job. I quickly latched onto their different characters. I don't even know their names, but it's like, oh yeah, that one, that lady, whatever. Like, yeah,
I'm so glad that they
did their parts well.
I'm so glad that they killed off the non-witch so early because she was so fucking annoying.
Yep.
I had one other thing. Oh, the first episode being draped in, it had a little bit of WandaVision residual of like reality layers and dreams and shit, and that was cool. And also because it played into all of the stereotypes of shit that I like, aka is this set in Portland, Oregon? That was great. It wasn't like incredibly deep or meaningful. It was just nice, and I think that they did it visually pretty well.
It was a great True Detective spoof.
Yeah,
for about 10 minutes, and that's it.
Yes. I had one more thing.
That did a really good job of like bringing you over from WandaVision. Be like, remember WandaVision? Okay, here's where we're at. It did a really good job.
Yes. Misa agree. Damn, I really should have taken notes. I rewatched the finale last night because I wanted to, and I was like, shit. I did not think I was going to like Teen very much, to be honest. I don't hate the character in the comics that this character is loosely based on. But personal biases, I don't love the character archetype that he is in real life. I find people like that, aka Twinkie gay boys, very annoying. But they didn't overdo it, but it also didn't feel like they were kind of like dumbing it down or like changing the demeanor of the character. He still was silly and gay and lispy and shit, but he didn't feel unnecessarily like too quippy or very obnoxious. I actually liked the character. It felt like vaguely like an actual person instead of a stereotype, and I appreciated that because I thought I was gonna fucking hate it.
So that's what you mean when you say you hate yourself? You don't like the
Yes.
Twinkie gay boys?
That is very true. I am.
All right.
I look in the mirror and I just see. Yeah, for sure. There are women kissing in this one. That was cool. I like that they did a smooch in the middle of a fight.
My nose itches.
This is on the better end of these shows because it feels like a show, for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
it's episodic, and it's not like this should have been a movie.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think I put it below. It's like kind of on par with WandaVision, but that's because that one had higher highs and lower lows. This was very even keeled. Loki is god tier. Echo is low-key god tier. For me, anyways. I know not. Yeah. Shut up.
I want to like it at god tier, but it has its issues.
It does. This is number 4. It's right above She-Hulk and Moon Knight. She-Hulk was also very good at being episodic, and Moon Knight is like a horrible adaptation, but I like it anyways. You can't convince me to not like that show, despite the fact that I should not like it.
Which of like 8 variations of the Witch's Road song did you like best?
That's true. Well, also, yeah, that song low-key went hard as shit.
Yeah, it did.
I think I liked it in episode 9 when it was like the various like childhood melody versions. I thought that was cool when it was played over like the compilation of time past and stuff. I thought that was cool. Honestly, I don't remember. All I remember is them being distinct from each other. None of them really stick out.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It kept it from getting old really quick because so much of it revolved around a song.
Cool. Is it my turn now?
Yes. What you got for me?
Another thing that I want to love very much,
Oh.
but it has problems, is Alien 3.
That's more positive than I would say. Woo!
Well, I'll get into it. Hang on. I gotta find a date.
Which version of the movie did you watch, sir?
Whatever is on the back door through Disney into Hulu.
Probably the theatrical cut.
I would assume so. It came out in 1992 and stars Sigourney Weaver. It's directed by a David Fincher.
This made him almost fucking kill himself. This movie's got a wild backstory.
So anyway, Ripley is floating through space yet again, and then there's an alien on the ship that causes her to be shot out of the ship in an escape pod, and she lands on a prison planet that is actually run by like a monastery of monks or whatever, space monks. And
they have the orange Catholic Bible, though.
They're like, we don't like women here.
So they're Catholics, got it.
And then she's like, there's an alien that you have to kill. And they're like, we don't believe you. And then there's a lot of talking. And then they kill the alien. And then Ripley's rescued. I really, really like the prison planet as an idea on paper. And I really, really like the space monks as an idea on paper. I think these two things are really cool. But I rewatched it because you were like, this movie is so dog shit, and I kept seeing it online. I was like, the first time and only time I've seen it, I liked it. So I got to go back and reestablish what I think about this movie. I do like pieces of it on paper, but this movie is chopped to shit. So much does not make sense from scene to scene, and it's frustrating because it should have been a really good movie. There are good pieces to it.
There was like 5 different directors and like a billion different script revisions. It was nuts.
Yeah. So I like it better than I should because I see what it could have been, but definitely I not what it is.
That's my line, man. You can't take that away from me.
You can eat my ass. That's Colin's line. I took it from him, too. Ha ha!
Can I eat Sigourney Weaver's ass?
No.
Damn.
I gave it a 2.5 stars. It is technically a movie.
That is true. It is technically. I read Fantastic Four Life Story, which was awesome.
I'm pretty sure you've already reviewed that.
I did not. I just sent you a text about it. I remember. I didn't do it.
I thought for sure you read it right when you got the slipcase one.
No, different book. No, that's Full Circle, which was by Lieber Mayho. So this The Fantastic Four Life Story is a miniseries with 6 issues, a la Spider-Man Life Story, which was done by Chip Zdarsky and Mark Bagley. That was pretty damn good, and I really hope they keep doing these because this was written by Mark Russell with art by Sean Itzhaki, and it was fucking awesome. Low-key, it might be better than Spider-Man. Spider-Man had a little bit of a crunching problem in the last couple of issues. There was just so much history being shoved in, which is fine. But I think that this one is more consistently dense and also addresses a lot more parts of the Fantastic Four mythos, at least the ones that I'm familiar with, in a way that is satisfying but also very unique. So each issue takes place over a decade. Everyone ages in real time. So the first one is in the 60s, unless I'm stupid. Yeah, whatever. 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2010s, whatever. So we see the Fantastic Four do the space thing. I guess an easier thing to do is kind of notate where the story deviates from the general consensus on like what Fantastic Four chronology looks like. Because most of this is pretty beat for beat. If you are vaguely familiar with the Fantastic Four, yeah, they go to space because Reed's like, I'm gonna go to space and shit, and then he gets a vision of Galactus because space shit happens. So he basically becomes like a doomed crazy scientist out the gate. And I thought that this change was fucking awesome because it then influences why he is the way he is for the next, like the whole book he is low-key kind of heralding Galactus, but like not really, but like kinda. He spends all his time being like, guys, Earth is gonna get fucked by Galactus. We gotta find the shit to do the stuff so we can fuck him in the ass. And everyone's like, dude, you're kind of crazy though. We like your science, but like, no. So that was a really, really big change. So that's the backdrop is Galactus is like the big bad for all time. Johnny Storm is a fucking child. Like he's like 17 when he gets pulled onto the spacecraft that he should not be on because they're shorthanded and running like a covert mission that they're not supposed to be doing because the program got shut down or whatever. So that's fucked. They do a really good job of demonstrating how guilty Reed feels for recruiting these people to his project and completely fucking their lives up. Ben isn't even friends with Reed. He's literally just a dude that they like brought on the trip because they needed an extra set of hands, and they grow into having this phenomenal like brotherly friendship over the rest of their lives, despite the fact that they didn't start there. And that's a really big change, which I thought was really cool. Doom was not on the spacecraft because Doom is never on the spacecraft because the movies are retarded. Doom and Tony Stark make various appearances basically as you would expect them. Doom doesn't do any magic that I could really tell. It is pretty much all technology. It's very spacey technology, but he doesn't do any magic, which I thought was kind of lame because I like when he is also a sorcerer. But I thought the technology stuff was handled really well. Him and Reed work together because Doom is like the only guy who will basically back him. So their plan to defeat Galactus Doom's plan to defeat Galactus is to make Earth not worth eating, which is nuts. So Galactus eats planets. This we know. He likes to go nom nom nom. But he won't eat a planet if it doesn't have enough like life force on it. So Doom is like, you know what we should do? We should just like blow shit up and kill half the planet so he'll leave us alone. And then Reed goes, "Duh fuck? Bad idea." Doom attacks the UN, which is full of other heroes at the time. Sue basically single-handedly saves the day on that point. Sue and Reed get divorced, which is a very large part of this book, and I think it plays out really well. It starts in like the end of issue 1 or 2. Particularly, I believe it's issue 2 is primarily from, like, voiceover wise, is from Sue's perspective. Each issue takes the narrative voice from a character. They have different word bubbles or whatever. So it's Reed and Sue and Johnny, Ben, Franklin, Reed and Sue's child, and I can't remember who the sixth one is, which I think was really cool. But the second issue being primarily around Sue being a woman in the 60s and 70s who's invisible. Very obvious social commentary ensues. I think that was actually handled really well. They don't go out of their way to demonize Reed in the, like, we're going to make him like a misogynistic douchebag way, but it is kind of an extension of an underlying bias that he has, that he does kind of put the woman shit on Sue, and she's like, when you're here, you're great, but you're always gone, and I'm always doing the house shit. You kind of go fuck yourself. I actually think that they handled it really well. Because then over the next like 40 years, they end up reconciling and shit, because Reed learns to be a little bit less of a poo-poo dum-dum. But I think that was actually pretty cool. And of course, she goes and hangs out with Namor, which was very obvious. That was pretty cool. I think it was the end of issue 3. Ben moves in with Reed right after the separation / divorce happens, and Ben's like, you know what? I don't fucking like you, and like you kind of fucked my life because I'm like a thing, but like you need friends because you're gonna be a bum. I don't know. It was really cool. A gripe I have. So the Doom not doing magic is like a personal preference one. Another thing, it's going to tie into my previous me doing a thing. Ben is suspiciously not Jewish in this one, and that was kind of weird. There's a lot of really obvious spots where they could have just done it and they didn't. So I don't know what's going on with that. The character otherwise is handled extremely well in terms of him having a lot of really weird internal struggles with his body image, very obviously. Him meeting his wife, who's blind, et cetera, all that stuff was handled really well. And him and Reed growing together as friends over decades was fucking awesome. It just does really stand out like a sore thumb, because we're not talking like actually in the 60s or the 70s. We're talking now. We can just make a character Jewish. I don't know what's going on with that. It just seemed kind of weird. Johnny was pretty good. There isn't much changed about his demeanor. He's Johnny Storm. He's a hothead. He's friends with Spider-Man, notably, which is great because that's a pair that never get enough attention in the comics that I really like watching. Him and Spider-Man start cracking like, I'm a 35-year-old man, my back jokes, which I thought was fucking great. Yeah, he ends up dying, I believe, at the end of his issue. His is basically about growing up. He's, the little brother who didn't ask for this. He's a hothead, blah, blah, blah. And he's distinctly younger than everybody else. But by the time that his issue comes around, he's like in his late 30s, early 40s. So he's kind of got that like washed up, if coach had only put me in college for that one game type vibe. He's still a massive celebrity, but it's different. And he needs to grow up and mature and all that sort of stuff, which includes him kind of taking on a very strong uncle role to Franklin, Sue, and Reed's son. That was really well handled, really well. Franklin is a mutant, which is fun. That doesn't get delved into too much, but usually it's Franklin and Valeria. I don't remember if they're usually twins or not, but it was just Franklin, but it worked well for me. I don't know. He actually has a personality, and he's not just a kid. He actually gets to grow up. So that was nice. A lot of it has to do with like being the child of celebrity parents and dealing with divorce and all that sort of stuff, which is cool. Well, not cool, but it's done well. It's nice to read. He gets married, which is fun. Silver Surfer shows up and is like, yo, Reed, we got to chat, because like Earth is fucked, but you can do what I did. And you can be the guy, and you can save Earth. And Reed's like, yeah, I'm going to fucking do it. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. And then he goes, maybe, and then pulls a psych at the last second. I very much so condensed a very large ethics quandary into a very silly joke, but like, the Silver Surfer was handled really well. It's I don't know. It worked really well as like a towards the finale of the culmination of the whole story, kind of wrapping up and proving that Reed was right and all that stuff. Yeah, a lot of choices of a lot of the general, I guess, vibes or more like thematic or like subtext arguments were very choosing to make the world a better place for our children and a lot of that sort of stuff, which I just really thought was handled really well. There's a lot of quotes in this book. I think I set one or two of them in the group chat, and I was like, holy shit balls. Like, there's just random quotes that's like, well, that's not a distillation of the entire Fantastic Four ideology into one little nugget, which is great. And low-key, for me, that makes a book shoot up very high in my rankings, is when I can pull a random quote out, and it's just a great... I know who said that. That sounds like a great philosophical point. That's a big thing for me. And low-key, Spider-Man didn't do that often, so this kind of jumps ahead on that alone, which sounds dumb and petty, but it's a personal bias. Fuck you. Reed ends up becoming a vegetable, which is fun. Like literally, not literally, but he goes comatose because he tries to defeat Galactus and does some shit with his brain. So the last issue is him being wheelchair bound and like non-functional, which is rough. It's all from his that's what the 6th issue was. It's all from like his internal dialogue, which is done really well. There's a lot of cool callbacks to other villains that have appeared throughout the series, and they all kind of tie into how the physical plot machinations will go off without a hitch. They all move into an old folks home for superheroes, because of course there's a superhero old folks home. They put up a big old final fight with against Doombots, which was great, because they're all old. So it's very fun watching like Sue go talk to Steve Rogers and be like, you need to put down your celery juice and come help us fight these robots and shit. And then they're next to all the young whippersnappers like Miss Marvel and like Miles Spider-Man and shit. So there's a really cool like clashing of generations that I thought was done pretty well. Yeah, I don't know, man. This shit damn fine. She be thick. I like them. I have like those two fairly minor one's minor and one is kind of annoying, but like as a read, holy shit, this was a great binge.
How much did you spend on it?
Cover price, I believe, is $20. I'm pretty sure I got it at Jetpack. I really hope that Marvel keeps doing these. Like, even if they don't make it a huge push, I think it was like 2 years between these two books. If they could just close that gap a little bit, that would be awesome. Just let people randomly go, hey, this is a passion project. I've loved these characters forever. Now let me make them old and stuff. I don't know.
I watched 2 other movies.
Damn.
I watched Terrifier 2.
Oh boy.
And then I went back in the series and I watched the prequel that came first, All Hallows Eve. I swear, these movies are just tech demos. They tried to squish the story into Terrifier 2, and it's serviceable, but I didn't really care. Really, anybody watching these movies is there for the gore and the violence and the humor, I guess, that the clown has a little bit. It's messed up, but it is funny sometimes. But just the incredible amount of VFX and just how good these awful things look it's the best thing about these movies.
Bro, they rub salt in the wound.
Stop. I don't even know what more to talk about.
Tell me about All Hallows Eve, because I haven't checked that one out yet.
That one I
know
had
it's like a
higher hopes for, because it's sort of an anthology. It's 3 short stories squished together in like a VHS style format. But granted, I was really tired and at the bottom of a wine bottle by the time the third VHS hit. So I don't remember too much, but it just didn't stick in my brain as well. It was less interesting than the other two movies. And to be fair, it was, I think the first and third shorts in that movie were like literally the director's backyard projects that led up to this movie. And he's like, all right, well, I'll make a new one and get in between these two, but whatever. It's very weird. Again, the story that was squished in there to try to make it a complete movie was just absolutely miserable. I would have rathered like a hard cut VHS style. Here's 3 shorts that are scary.
Ooh, that's another thing I got to do. I got to rewatch. I got to restart watching VHS because I think a new one came out this year, and I think a new one came out last year that I haven't watched yet or something like that.
Yeah. I watched the first 2 and I had a blast. I liked that series better than Terrifier so far. Just because it's more coherent, or it's a lot easier to take in bite-sized pieces, which is important while I'm touring the country. But it's also just easier to not relate to, but to follow and be like, it's not as jank as Terrifier, where it's like.
Which is weird because VHS is a bunch of anthologies made by different people that are strung together by like the framing mechanism.
Right. I don't know. It's just Terrifier is there to do incredible kills because that's what it does really well. And then everything else that it tries to do is like, meh, it's fine. But did you see that kill? It was nasty.
I actually think you're gonna like 3 a decent bit more than you think you will, because I'm a little bit more positive on the additional like mythology stuff, even if it's lame and it's not handled super well. I commemorate the fact that they're actually trying to make a story now, but I think 3 handles it a lot better and also is not as brutal of a runtime. I mean, literally it's more brutal somehow, but like it's also funnier. It's funny as shit. I think you're gonna like it.
There was a background piece to Terrifier 2 where there was a little girl that was killed and people are imagining her, and I didn't completely follow if she was only in the clown's mind or if she was a ghost that was being seen by everybody. I don't know. I liked the subtle lore hints of like, if I really cared, I could rewatch this and try to piece it together, but I don't.
That's
I like
a secret
that it wasn't handed to me on a platter of like, here's the solution to the little girl.
So that's a secret that'll help us later. Do you want like a overview of 2 in that sense, just so you have a better idea what you're walking into? Like, it's not like you're missing out. Okay.
No, I think I picked up on it enough.
She becomes more relevant.
Oh. I liked that her story was subtle and that you could piece it together if you really cared.
Or just washing his laundry.
Yeah.
He's literally me.
I don't know. I gave Terrifier 2, which only came out 2 years ago, 3.5 stars, and I gave All Hallows Eve 3 stars because, All Hallows Eve was technically a movie. It hit that point for me of just like, it's fine, but I don't have many thoughts. Terrifier 2 was like, I wouldn't rewatch it because it's so rugged, but I'm glad that I have seen it once, and I intend to leave it there.
Low key, I think 3 is also going to be good for a rewatch. I have yet to rewatch it yet. I think that 1 in the abstract actually has the most rewatch value, not because of any of the slapdash mythology stuff, but purely as like not as just like a tech demo necessarily, but more of a very strong distillation of Art the character in comparison to the other ones, because there's so much more stuff getting involved, which I think is cool. And I think that they're going to make those two sides come to a head, sort of, in the next one or something like that. But I think one is just great because it's just Art doing his thing without other complications. And I just have to drop because I feel like it. My favorite thing about Art is when you think he's gonna like do late epic thing, he just pulls out a fucking gun and shoots you. Like, aside from the great performance and the cool makeup and all of that, is just the fact that he doesn't play by the fucking rules. Not just in the sense of like, oh, he's vicious. It's like all genre convention goes out the fucking window. It's like, oh, she's about to stomp his head, and he's just like, yeah. I love that shit.
That is a good point. I also just cannot state enough how much I love the mime work that goes into the character. It's so good. It's so good. It equally adds to like, oh, he's a goofy serial killer, and it's black humor. I can laugh at this because it's awful, but also it adds a layer to the horror of like clowns being creepy and getting off on being a creepy clown.
Yeah,
It's great.
I think the part of that sits the most in my brain is the fact that even when he's being given pain, he doesn't make noise. So it's like, is he actually mute, or is like this just is his brain that screwed? Like, what's going on there? I don't think there's an answer.
It's completely a bit.
But like, he literally fucking dies in the first one. Like, he gets his ass beaten. There's no way you can like stop all involuntary noise. That's nuts. Like, he doesn't even grunt.
Online, I had missed the detail, but apparently in the second one, he's grunting at somebody's door as he's trying to get in.
Harumph.
Yes, I agree. What's your second talking point?
Low-key, all three of those as a binge would go hard as shit as a group.
Ugh. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Hell yeah. I've been having a Friday the 13th low-key binge. I say binge like I'm actually watching them all in one sitting, but it's become like a ritual to watch the next one. And it's all horrible, but I've been having a blast with that. So
We should talk about that in happy hour because I have thoughts.
Oh dear Lord Almighty. Where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, there it is. I read X-Men, the animated series, The Further Adventures. What are you shaking your head at, boy?
I thought we were done with the animated comics.
We barely started.
You peeked out and I barely heard any of that.
We've barely started, motherfucker. Okay, so this pairs with the animated series omnibus, like, of the adaptations and shit. Cool. So you'd think that this is the adaptations of seasons 4 and 5, right? Right? It's not. And it's kind of low-key dog shit. So it continues the adventures of the X-Men 1 through 12 titling, and then the rest of it is back part like secondary stories in like the animated Spider-Man adaptation book, and none of these have anything to do with anything. They're just little bite-sized tiny adventures about, I don't know, hit Mole Man really hard in the face because he's ugly. There is fucking nothing in here. It's disappointing as shit. Not Mole Man. Why did I say Mole Man? I was thinking about Fantastic Four. Whatever. Don't be mean to Magneto. He'll come. There's just nothing here. It's really disappointing. They're written by a different bunch of authors. Every few issues changes. They're not even full-size issues. They're like a third of an issue if you're lucky. It's just, they're like comic strips. And that could be something, but it's not. It doesn't. Again, I tried to read these as I was watching each couple of episodes of the animated series. Nothing in here except the finale actually ties to any episodes. It's just whole cloth, its own shit. None of it means anything. There's no ongoing stories. It's just, it's stupid. It's a waste of fucking time. The finale is really weird. The writer from the main adaptations returns, Ralph Macchio, not the guy from Karate Kid. And they basically try to justify that the animated universe was the 90s animated universe is the original Marvel universe, and then 616 gets like spun out of it. It's incoherent, and I admire the balls just because it's so ridiculous, but it makes no fucking sense. It's like, so actually in a better timeline that we just made, shit's better actually. And then it shows like the first couple of panels of like the original X-Men comic, and it's like, what the fuck? This doesn't make any sense at all. So I guess I'll give it props for having balls. And frankly, almost every single issue looks like shit. I don't like any of the art in any capacity. The coloring is almost all flat, which I usually prefer, but in terms of 90s comics, it kind of makes it feel like 70s comics in a bad way. It just, these are sloppy. There's really no way around it. The writing is sloppy, the art is sloppy. They just kind of churned them out, and they're not even their own issues, so I don't understand why they even bothered. It makes me angry. I paid $40 for this book. It's a chunky one. It's like the same size as House of X and Powers of 10, roughly. Same price point, but it's dog shit. I will never touch this again. I will keep it on my shelf purely because I bought it and I don't want to throw it away. But like, I'm so mad about this. I finished this weeks ago and I've been stewing in my hatred because I couldn't really keep going until I read through it and talked about it, and it makes me very mad. What the fuck happened here? Like, I don't understand what happened from an editorial point of view. Was it sales? Was it, I don't know. It's all doo-doo dog shit. I gave it 1 out of 5. The half point above the baseline is purely because the writer from the first series came back to make a balls to the walls answer of retardation for the final issue, and I like that, even though it makes no sense. Skip this. Strong recommendation. Skip it.
Will do. You know what I won't skip, though? The closing credits to the show. Big special thank you to our patrons, Caitlin, Jeff Lorenz. They went to patreon.com/dimecomicbros network, and they subscribed under one of the 4 tiers that they found there. They keep this show going, which is kind of a lie because the show stopped for a whole month, despite the constant support that they gave us.
Low-key,
suck.
it didn't actually stop for a month, but that's a joke you'll understand later. I'm getting to that.
Great.
Don't worry about it.
I'm not, because
Vic, I can't take you with me. I'm sorry, kid.
I'm not worried about it because we still got paid this month. So
I like money.
Thank you to our patrons.
Also, a thank you to our partners over at Jetpack Comics and Games. Eat my ass.
I can't. I'm in Connellsville, Arizona, about to go do a gig for the 12th day in a row at this seedy dive bar.
Oh, I saw this movie, The Green Room.
I've been dying to watch that one.
Dude, fucking do it. It's so good. A thank you to our partners over at Jetpack Comics and Games in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire. Shop at your local niche shop local and buy your comics at a comic shop because Amazon sucks and everything sucks and the world is burning and on fire. But Jetpack has AC and they have heat during the winter. And if we really have to, I guess we can burn the books. And if you need to beat off intruders, you have statues to do that.
You would be the one to beat off the intruders. No. I don't have a baseball bat or a golf club.
Just got my hands. Goodness. We will do another episode after this. Maybe. It will be determined what the fuck we're doing.
And now for Happy Hour, which is a Patreon exclusive. Go sign up. Give us money. Listen to extra stuff.
I love extra stuff.